Okay. Now, since they hate how much we will not allow them to lie, since they're upset with us for not allowing them to turn Charlie in the afterlife as into a war hawk, right? A war hawk in the afterlife. We should probably check in on Trump's dumbass and talk about the war that we're currently engaged in, because he launched this war on Zio vibes, right? This is a Zio vibe war. There was actually no strategy in place other than to keep lying and deluding themselves, and something about a red heifer. I think there's some red heifers and a Messiah involved. So we're launching on Zio vibes and some red cows. Okay. And it's been a disaster. It has been an unmitigated disaster. So much so that Trump is now going around asking other countries to jump in and help him. Big Ben Shapiro energy, right? So I picked the fight, but my daddy has money. Petey has money and blackmail. Oh, you picked a fight and you can't finish it because you didn't think through the fact that Iran could just close the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Now, in case you guys are not aware of how significant this approximate 100-mile strip of water is, you should know that roughly 25% of the global liquid petroleum moves through this tiny little choke point. Okay. Like I'm going to show you this on a map. And Iran's just like, we're going to shut that down because we can. Look at this map, just so you understand. You can see Iran on either side of that massive country, 100 million people, and everybody is going to come to the table. If you are playing strategy, war games, you know that if you have not figured out that they could just shut that little choke point down, because who's going to send them? The UAE? You're an idiot. You would be an idiot not to recognize that. But they are idiots. Okay, they are idiots, and they're following a prophecy. There's no sense here, and one that we're not following. And remember, we picked this fight. Nothing was going on. Nothing was happening other than Bibi wanted to fight with Iran because they actually want to control that. And they're like, you know what? You guys have a lot of American sons and daughters. Send them over to die so I can get more. I'm just taking over everything. We've got this idea of greater Israel. So we are going to need like American handle this. So we just picked this fight. Nothing's going on. We also randomly bombed 200 schoolgirls in Iran, and then we lied about it. I didn't lie about it. Trump lied about it immediately. Red heifer vibes. And now it's getting real all of a sudden because that matters. Okay. At the end of the day, the commodities matter. And Pete Hegseth gets pressed on this, and he had a remarkable response. Okay. Hey, that straight's pretty important, Pete. What's your plan here? What's going on here? They're saying they're just shutting this down. Pete, with a highly intellectual grasp on how we got here and what we can do going forward. Take a listen.
The only thing prohibiting transit in the Straits right now is Iran shooting at shipping. It is open for transit should Iran not do that.
Oh, so it will be open if Iran didn't do that, they weren't shooting, and if they weren't angry. If look, if our actions didn't have any consequences, like everything will be fine. Like everything would be fine if we didn't start all of this drama. So that's what you need to realize is the issue is Iran responding to the illegal war that we started. Not the illegal war that we started on space, but the way Iran is responding to it. That's problematic. Yeah, this is a global catastrophe now, so much so, like I said, Trump is now demanding ground troops that he doesn't have. Okay. We don't have the men for this because we don't have the desire for this. The desire has to be with the men. Like the desire first, the men will follow. And we told him this. We were honest. The reason we elected you was because we wanted peace. We wanted an end to never-ending Middle Eastern conflicts. He decided not to listen. There is no appetite for this war anywhere. So Trump is now reduced to going around and asking or demanding other countries to get involved. And here's how the world is responding. And the reason they're responding is because of that choke point. Okay, that choke point in the Middle East. They're like, we're going to need that, actually. Germany, here, we'll just put this together for you, said, this is not our war. We did not start it. We want diplomatic solutions and a swift end to the conflict, but sending more warships to the region will likely not help achieve that. That's a strong no. The EU says it is in our interest to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, and that's why we are also discussing what we can do in this regard. Britain writes, while taking the necessary action to defend ourselves and our allies, we will not be drawn into the wider war. Okay. Australia writes, Australia does not intend to send ships into the Strait of Hormuz. We know how incredibly important that is. That's not something that we've been asked or that we're contributing to. Japan writes, we have not made any decisions whatsoever about dispatching escort ships. We are continuing to examine what Japan can do independently and what can be done within the legal framework. The peace and stability in the region and beyond, China once again calls on parties to immediately stop military operations, avoid further escalation of the tense situation, and prevent regional turmoil from further impacting the global economy. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on Wednesday, she's a friend of Trump, delivered her strongest criticism of the US Israeli war on Iran, describing it as part of a growing and dangerous trend of interventions that sit outside the scope of international law. Like, this is illegal, is what she's saying. This is illegal. Spain says Spain will never accept any stopgap measures because the objective must be for the war to end and for it to end now. South Korea, we will continue to communicate closely with the US while carefully reviewing the situation before making a decision. And the most hopeful message came out of France, which in and of itself is not very hopeful because the country despises him. Okay, they hate Emmanuel Macron and his husband. That's the reality in France. They hate him. So nobody cares what he says. He's just saying what the Rothschilds told him to say because the Rothschilds are Israel, they created Israel, and they created Emmanuel Macron. So he said that he would be willing to use the French Navy to escort ships, but only if the conflict stabilized. Yeah, thanks. We expected that from you. So this is the state of affairs today, you guys. Big Ben Shapiro energy, just starting fights and thinking that you have enough money or your daddy knows someone. And well, we should do it. And that's all that matters. And you can see they're in a mess. Everybody's nervous. Nobody knows where Bibi Netanyahu is or why these weird videos look so AI when he's speaking. I mean, there's rumors that he's dead. He's certainly not acting like he's alive. I'll say that. So I think he's dead. I don't know. And we got here because Trump ignored the very base that put him into office. Trump himself became a never Trumper, and no one outside of Israelis should support this man, like ever. Really, going forward, he's just disgusting. We'll take a brief break and we'll be right back. All right, you guys.